What is up, folks? Welcome back to another live stream repair. We've got quite the queue today. Let's get the names up there and let a few folks know so they can watch. First thing and first pod up first here is going to be Nick with no power. So we'll find Nick here. Let them know that they are up first. Oh, something's up with my keyboard. Okay. We've got Nick messaged. Nick has been notified. It is not me. My Nick is without a K. So, this is definitely another Nick out there in the world's HomePod, as much as I would like it to be mine. So, who else do we have here? We've got... Excuse me. We've got two HomePods from a Chris with two HomePods. Both of them have blinking volume buttons. They appear to be bricks. And then we've got Keith. Looks like we're going to do Keith next. They have no power. And then we've got Spencer with some bad DC filters, and then Anthony with no power, and then Paul with no power, and last but not least, certainly not least, we've got Patrick with 4 HomePods. So, we've got quite a bit to do today. Do not let the lesser number of names on the screen fool you. Chris has got 2, Pat's got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in total today that I can count right now at this very moment to get fixed up. So let's let Chris know that they're up next, actually, before we get started. Alright, Nick and Chris have been messaged. We'll message everyone else as we get closer to them. Here we go, let's see what this has got for us. I see no lights, no power, I hear nothing. I got 4 watts out of the kilowatt meter at the wall there. So that tells me we've got the usual dead diode in there. We'll get that replaced along with a little bit of preventative maintenance. And be in and out of this in just a few minutes. Also, happy Friday, folks. I woke up on the right side of the bed today. Also, Stefan, welcome. Your pod started blinking while you were at school again. That sounds like you've got a NAND issue. Just waiting to take it out and keep it from restoring again, unfortunately. But hey, no harm in just if it keeps restoring, just keep restoring it. It beats having to take it apart and reball the NAND. But that will, by the sounds of it, that's inevitably what you'll have to do to fix that permanently. What am I eating? Oh, I'm not eating anything right now. I got my 7-Up. Does it sound like I'm eating? Chris, welcome. Glad you could make it. They did the knots on this one. They felt it was absolutely necessary to give it that extra inch there. So strange. And then they turn around and cut them way too short for us on the 2nd gen. What gives? Goodness, it looks like it's about time for me to order more components too. I'm almost out of diodes. I still have an emergency stash of everything just in case, but I like to have a couple hundred of anything I need on hand at least. Because you never know how long it'll take to get more. Or how much it might end up costing in the future. The price of everything that we've been using has, of course, steadily increased, and I've only had to lower my prices as competition comes in and offers, you know, competition. So, also the price of these things have gone down. Ironically, the price of used ones has come down while the price for broken ones has gone up. It's kind of silly. But we can't charge the same rate that we were charging 3 years ago when we started this. How many of these do we think we have fixed? We're at roughly 3,500 right now. Give or take a few hundred. I could be 1,000 off. I could have fixed 1,000 more than that by now. I keep pretty good track, but there's a lot of them that slip through the cracks. A lot of people that don't want me to track anything whatsoever. They want it as private and anonymous as possible. And then, of course, there's all the ones that I've fixed for myself and or fixed and flipped and sold to other people, which, frankly, I hate. I hate selling HomePods. Let me keep my HomePods. Buy broken ones and have me fix them for you instead. Let me hoard my HomePods. Your parents want to move to Canada, dude? Not bad. I mean, that'd be a one heck of an upgrade from Serbia, I'll say that, man. And it'll be a lot easier I imagine, as a family trying to move there than you trying to come up with $5 million to get a United States gold card by yourself, man. No, that'd be great. You know what you should do? If you move to Canada, you need to start a HomePod repair business there for yourself. Because people are constantly bugging me from Canada. Hey, do you know anyone that fixes them here? Hey, do you know anyone that fixes them here? No, I don't. Nobody after this whole time, out of all the places in the world that there are people that fix HomePods, I haven't found anyone offering it in Canada. And it's a 50-50 split. Half the people tend to send them in to me and pay for the more expensive shipping both ways. And the other half just kind of live with it. I assume they're sitting on them waiting for someone to come out here one day, or they sold it, threw it away. Alright, so we're going to get these 4 filters replaced first. They love to go bad. They're one of the most common issues, is them going bad and causing death farts and bass issues. Be it due to naturally aging or them being a low quality part by themselves. We like to replace these as part of our little signature maintenance. Whenever we've got a HomePod apart, it's worth replacing a few key items so that you don't have to take it apart again anytime soon. I mean, there has to be someone in Canada that fixes HomePods as a repair service, or at least, like, offers it alongside whatever other repair services they do. But nobody's reached out to me, and I can't find anyone. So the opportunity is there, and it's ripe. Oh, I don't blame you, Chris. I don't blame anyone for... You can't read my handwriting. I don't expect most people to really know what that number actually means without asking either. Let's go, Stefan. Let's do it. Fix them pods in Canada, man. People are waiting. It'll make a very nice little side hustle for you, if anything. At best, you'll have enough work to do that you'll eventually not just get enough HomePods, but other stuff to fix just from the reputation, and you've got yourself set for life. No one's driving Lambos fixing stuff, as far as I know, but if you do it right, you can make a decent, comfortable living. And the way that I see the world, broken just means discounted, for me at least. No, you can't fix the world's HomePod, Stefan. That's mine. You can have Canada, though. The rest of the world is mine, though. You can't have them. Fart filters have been replaced, so now let's move on to the actual problem here. We've got a 46K dated Schottky diode. These are well known for failing and going bad for no good reason, so we'll get that replaced with one that won't fail for no reason. Alright, that's it. We'll put this back together with a new subwoofer gasket, and then we'll move on to Chris's pods here. Oh yeah, no, that's 500 Celsius. I sincerely doubt it's actually reaching 500 degrees Celsius. It was the cheapest Amazon hot air gun that you could get 3 years ago. Over 3 years ago now. And it has fixed every single one of those HomePods. $400 to $450 should be perfectly adequate for removing a lot of the components, but you may find yourself needing to actually crank it all the way up to 500 in order to get enough heat through the components, as the board tends to pull a lot of that heat away passively through all the copper that it's got in there. It's a pretty dense board. Sucks up a lot of the heat, but they're really tough boards too, as long as you don't sit there and scrape the board with your tweezers after holding it under heat for 5 minutes straight. You'll be fine. Yeah, it is actually in Celsius. So that's Fahrenheit. That's 932 in Fahrenheit. I'll have to look at their console log after the stream here. Unless you see what error that they actually got before that. Like, what was it doing up to that? And you know, that's driving me crazy. I gotta see what this is. Oh yeah, sounds like it worked. So they just need to power cycle it now. That was exactly what I expected. It restored fine. A lot of times iDevice Restore doesn't fully exit, and it just kind of stays there. And it'll show you every time you plug or unplug your HomePod. So when it restarts after it finishes restoring, it'll reconnect in DFU mode and log that because it's still connected and upside down. But as soon as you see that restore finished message, you can disconnect everything and boot it up normally. And then when you plug it back in, don't unplug it. Leave it plugged in, let it reboot a few times, it'll set up. Have I seen the iOS 19 leaks? Yeah, I've seen some of them. I'm indifferent. These drawstrings are being extra fun on this HomePod. Are there any parts that shouldn't be transferred from a donor for no base issues? Basically any of the parts that you see under my website's known issues section. Anything that causes no base issues, I wouldn't move over. I would replace with new stuff. If there's a few things. There's a couple MOSFETs, the filters, the resistor, of course. The amp chip could have been damaged. It could have a shorter expected lifespan left. Nivernal, thank you for the kind words there. We'll be doing it for quite a long time. I don't see any reason we'll stop ever. We'll be finding ways to keep these things going no matter what.
connect. I'm having.
Very nice. One down. A bunch more to go. So here's Chris's first of 2 bricked HomePods we've got to look at here today. They have opted for the fix it no matter what it needs, no matter what it takes. So with how many that we've got here today that we need to get through, we'll see if these can get fixed with just the software restore. If they need a new logic board or the logic board itself repaired, if it's a hardware issue that's causing this, then we will put them to the side and try to get through everything else today and wrap theirs up tomorrow. In any case, if they take a software restore, then we want to let them test overnight and make sure that, there it is, the blinkies. We want to make sure that if it is going to restore with just the software and the adapter, that we tested overnight and that there isn't a hardware issue that caused this in the first place before we dive in for the extra hardware maintenance that they opted for. So we've got the blinkies. Let's see if this one is just software or not. And it looks like someone's already been in here. Someone's already tried this. I'll double check our correspondence in case you already said that. If I can find my mouse here. Let's see. One took a bit, then died again. The other wouldn't take the software fix at all. Okay. Well, then let's go ahead and at least get these triaged. Let's figure out what exactly is going on with them and what they're going to need. And then I'll get that stuff ready so we can execute tomorrow, most likely. But given that the one that restored and then failed later on, that's probably a NAND issue. We'll want to figure out which one of those 2 that is. And then the one that outright doesn't restore, we'll see why. What that error is. Excuse me. Okay. What'll it be? Okay. Ooh, I don't like that. Possibly invalid IBEC. So that basically means there's quite a severe issue on that logic board. The CPU, or the BGA for the CPU itself, must have gone bad. I'll write that down. And let's see what the other one is doing here. Ooh. Number 2. Yeah, if we can get through fixing everyone else today, then we'll have time to fix up a few logic boards that we can use for Chris's pods here, because that the one with the IBEC error, unfortunately, is a little... I don't have a stencil for the CPU. I've got a BGA stencil for the NAND, which is usually what goes bad on the logic boards. But I don't have a stencil for the CPU. And if I did, I probably wouldn't attempt that here and now because it's quite a tricky repair. The CPU is essentially two chips. You've got the CPU chip itself that has a BGA or a grid of balls soldering it to the logic board, and then you've got a second chip on top of that with BGA connecting it for the RAM. And it's not a fun time to mess with. Especially with those, I prefer to just replace the logic board, and I'll try to fix that another day. So here we go. We've got the blinkies on number 2 here as well. Let's get that up on the screen really quick. I would presume that this one then, if the first one threw an IBEC error, then I expect this one to probably be the one that will take the restore and then fail again. That usually is a NAND issue that we are willing to try to fix on the board. Let's see what we have for this one. Oh yeah, you mean, they're all glued together. I'll fix that later. It'll have to bug you. You talking about my colored tops? Yeah, there it is, waiting for NAND. Alright. Similar situation here. The BGA for the storage chip on this one is what likely went bad. Usually the storage chips don't die. It's usually the solder that connects them to the board. So we have seen enough with Chris's pods here. They're going to need a little more work and or parts. So we'll get that knocked out this weekend for him. Maybe at the end of today's stream, if we can get through the rest of these quick enough here. So this one was the NAND. So what we'll do with this one is we'll try to actually reball that NAND chip. As for the other one with the IBEC error, we will need to replace that logic board. But for now, let's keep things moving. Let's try to touch everyone's pods today at least. We've got Keith here. Let's find Keith and let him know. I was bad and didn't message them ahead of time here. Let's see, Keith. Alright, so we've got Keith here. Let's get their name up. And then we've got Spencer. So we'll let Spencer know that they are coming up next year. That's going to be 3507. That's gonna be that area code. Oh, bless. iMessage finally showed me a recent message. Today's gonna be a great day. Alright. Keith and Spencer have been messaged. Here we go. No lights, no power, couple of watts from the wall. Let's get this a new diode, do a little bit of maintenance, get it working better than new. No, the first gen and second gen HomePods are fundamentally different. They have different issues entirely. Alright, first up a little bit of maintenance here. These filters that love to go bad and cause death farts and all sorts of base issues. Fantastic. Beautiful. Perfect. Let's get our dead diode out of here. It's got that 48K date code on it. Does the second generation fail less? Hard to say. I don't have access to any real data that could give you an accurate answer. But my gut says yeah. They seem more reliable. Granted, the issues, the most common issue the second gen and the minis have are the phantom touch issues, which you can't fix. You can't buy a replacement touch panel. So granted, the second gens seem like they fail less often, but when they do fail, their issues are less repairable. Another example, I had a second gen that was sent into us for no power. It ended up being simply just a shorted capacitor near the power management chip, but what that ended up doing was sending over 30 watts straight into the CPU where it didn't want it, And we got it turning on, but now it doesn't have any sound. Shufflehands is probably still at school. It's only 1:46 p.m. where I'm at.
無法連接互聯網。如果想要更多資料，你可以睇下家居 App。
Oh wow, I bet nobody would have guessed that one, huh? Let's see.
我無法連
All right. On to the next one. We've got Spencer here with some bad DC filters. After Spencer here, we're going to look at Anthony. All right. I've heard enough here. Nah, you got that right, Stefan. Pat's the one with the 4. The biggest deal breaker thing for me with the second gens, honestly, is the fact that the volume buttons don't light up. So if it's dark, you can't see the volume buttons. Oh, you're supposed to know where they are because you face the HomePod a certain way and you can't remember where they are when you... Dude, no. Silly move. Can't get blinking volume buttons if you can't if your volume buttons don't blink in the first place, right? Ooh, that's stinky. That woofer, that poor woofer, is roasted. That'll make a great bottle opener. Here, we'll use this woofer instead. It's not so stinky. Let's get this apart the rest of the way and fix a few things so that our replacement woofer doesn't have the same fate anytime soon. Stefan, you couldn't have put it any better. Apple has so much potential to make such good products, and they just decide, nah, here you go, another button. You nailed it. In a similar vein, Apple has the power and potential and the ability to make their devices so much easier to repair. I mean, in the first and easiest step that they could take without even having to modify any of their products is actually selling the parts at a reasonable cost for their products. Where's my HomePod parts? I don't believe that they're taking that seriously until you can buy parts for your HomePods too. For a smart speaker that if I'm not mistaken, it says at some point you could have, let's see, I think the cheapest iPhone ever was, what, $399, $499? So not quite, but still pretty darn expensive. Nevertheless, no parts available. Like, they could very easily flip a switch overnight that makes it so everyone can do what they want with their software and their hardware. But they care more about protecting their image and their profits than making a few extra people that want to fix their own stuff happy. Like, Apple has the opportunity, Apple is in a position to do something absolutely incredible. Like, they could easily turn into, like, the world's technology company. And they're getting kind of close to it. But not everyone wants to play those games that they want to play with us. And they'd rather make, they're more concerned about the short-term profit than the long-term satisfaction of a customer. That's my, that's my hot take. Like, seriously, how much could seriously letting others repair their own stuff affect your bottom line? There's more to it than that. There's gotta be. Oh, sounds like a transformer just blew down the street. The usual. Alright, we have a 52K dated Schottky diode on there, so that's not going to fail and cause power issues. We don't need to worry about that. We do, however, have a nasty looking what's left of a 10 ohm resistor here. That's going to need to get replaced. Very nice. All right. Alright, between the new filters, a new subwoofer gasket, and a new subwoofer, they should have a pretty significant and noticeable improvement in their bass here. Let's grab Anthony. They're up next here. And then after Anthony, it's going to be Paul. So we'll let Paul know they're up next. Oh, I get that all the time, Stefan. Just that like wave of freaking exhaustion, especially if it's been a long day.
I'm having trouble connecting.
Beautiful. Everything sounds better about that. And we move on to Anthony with no power here. After Anthony, it's going to be Paul. No lights, no power, a couple watts from the wall. That looks like the usual dead diode. Here we go. Ah, that's a hand cramper, that's for sure. Oh, that's nice to hear. I feel like we have our less than relaxing days. I feel bad whenever I've got a bad day and then I've got a stream. People show up to relax and then I'm all wound up. Like yesterday, exactly. Yesterday was rough, man. Let me tell you. I don't gotta tell you, you can go back and watch it. If I had any hair, I'd be pulling it out. Oh. We'll see if we'll be pulling our hair out by the end of, let's see, Pat's fourth HomePod there. At the very least, though, I'll spoil it for you guys for Pat's 4 pods. Only one of them actually has issues. I think it's Death Farts. The other 3 are working just fine. They just wanted some maintenance done to them. So they'll be pretty plain and boring. But thankfully uneventful for me, at least. I don't want a wig. Wigs are itchy, they're hot, and messy, it's extra maintenance. I mean, it's not like I miss my hair. It's not like I wouldn't love to have hair, but being bald has plenty of its own cons and pros. The biggest pro being 0 maintenance. I mean, it takes care of itself. I've got an autoimmune disorder, so it's not like I shave. It just all literally falls off. Like, I barely have any arm hair. I'm pretty hairless. And yes, to answer your question, what you were thinking, yes, there too. I don't want to do a hair transplant either. That's so much work just for hair. Just for my body to attack the hair follicles and have it fall back out again. No. A hair transplant wouldn't fix my hair. It would give me hair temporarily, and then it would just fall back out again. If I want hair, I have to fix my immune system's reaction, because it's my immune system that turns around and kills my hair follicles for no reason. Well, there's obviously reasons it's doing it, but no good reason that benefits me. No, there's no TMI. I know you were thinking it and you wanted to ask it. We're all human. I'm not being weird about it. But that's like the #1 follow-up question that I get whenever I bring up that I have like no hair and it all falls out. Does it fall out everywhere? Yes, that's what totalis means. Everywhere. Totally. There's a new-ish drug on the market that they found, as usual, there's a drug that they found that treats one thing that they recently discovered seems to have a very high success rate in also treating alopecia. So I'm gonna give that a go with my doctor sometime. I mean, who knows? Maybe in a year you'll see me with. Oh man, if I do grow hair again, I will literally never cut it. I never cut my hair when it fell out. And if it grows back again, I'm still never going to cut it. Oh, also, welcome back, Dan and Shuffle Hands. Welcome back. God, my hair fell out way back in middle school. I turned, I don't even remember how old I was. I think I was like 12 or 13 or something. And I started getting patches just on my head. And of course, middle schoolers, they all made fun of me for it. What's weird is it would kind of grow back and then fall out again in patches over and over in this weird cycle. All the way through high school. And then I enlisted in the military, and it pretty much all fell out after that. And it was funny, it was like, our school didn't allow you to wear hats, but They told me that because of my hair, if I wanted to, they would let me wear a hat so that kids wouldn't make fun of my hair. But what do you think the only kid in school wearing a hat is going to have happen to them? When they're like I said, the only one in the school wearing a hat. That didn't last very long. I just rocked it, man. What can you do? Ooh, I was still in middle school, but we tried these like corticosteroid shots. They literally do dozens of injections per square centimeter on your scalp. That was really painful. My mom convinced me to go try it out by offering to buy me my very first phone. My very first phone. I had phones before that, but it was always like the family phone that I shared with my sisters. We had the classic Nokia, of course. And then when my mom took me to get the steroid shots to try to fix my hair, she said, "I'll get you whatever phone you want if you try this out." I picked the LG Envy, the very first LG Envy. The one that it was like a candy bar style phone, and you'd fold it out, and it would fold out for a full keyboard and a bigger screen. It was between that. I was torn between the Envy or the LG Chocolate. But I was like, I need that keyboard. Give me that full keyboard. Not true at all, Shuffle Hands. You ever heard of adoption? The LG K31. Oh. And I rocked the LG Envy for quite a long time. I don't remember when, but I eventually replaced it with my first smartphone, which was the Samsung. Get ready for this. You ready? The SCH-I760. Oh man, hands down, the best smartphone on the market at the time. It ran Windows Mobile 6.1. It had a full slide-out keyboard. It had a touchscreen. It had a pull-out extendable antenna. It had an SD card slot. It had a removable battery with a charging dock that let you charge extra batteries at the same time. It had Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 3G. It was the bee's knees. And I quickly racked up a $4,000 cellular data bill on my mom's plan the first month I got it because I had no idea how anything worked. Thankfully, Verizon forgave her for that and promptly put us on the unlimited data plan. Y'all remember the $30 unlimited data plan with Verizon? Those were the days. Truly unlimited, unthrottled, unrestricted cell data. Anybody that still has one of those plans grandfathered into this day, that stuff is worth your body weight in gold, let me tell you. These days you get a couple hundred megabytes, maybe a few gigs at best at high speeds, and then everything gets throttled down to 4G after that. Now, I'm not talking I'm not talking Windows Phone. I'm not talking Windows Phone 7. I'm not talking about the Metro UI. This is old school stuff. I have it right here. I'm afraid, though. Oh, no way. There's batteries still in it. No way. Well, let's let that boot up and I'll show it off to you folks real quick. This is Windows Mobile 6.1. Before the iPhone came out, this was the shit. So there's your Windows Mobile 6.1 interface. It's been literally years since I've touched this. Yeah, you've got your, oh, and where is it? Where is it? There it is. You've got your stylus. You've got your full slide out keyboard that's backlit. I am failing to use this. Oh, I have to unlock it. Tap unlock. There we go. You got a start menu. Look at that. Look at that little start menu. And of course, you have bubble breaker. Oh, that's a big one. Oh, I think the battery just died. There you go. The Samsung SCH i760. Quite possibly one of the last best smartphones of its time. Yeah, I was gonna say, Kurt, you're not too far off. Also, welcome. You had the Motorola Q? Oh, dude, after the SCH i760, I got the Motorola Q. I loved that thing. It was kind of a piece of crap, but I still loved it. And then I got the HTC Ozone. And then I got, from the HTC Ozone, I got the HTC Incredible. That's right, that's right. One of the first Android phones on the market with a dual-core CPU. I was doing all sorts of stuff. Dual-core CPU, dude? You're kidding me? In a phone? Let's go. All right, Paul is up next, and then we'll be doing Pat.
I'm having trouble.
Very good and very nice. We've now got Paul with no power. Up next is Pat and their 4 HomePods. Here we go, no lights, no power, no nothing other than a couple of watts from the wall. We've got some... Where did that crack go? I saw, yep, there it is. We've got a giant crack right there that we need to be real careful with. I don't want to make that worse unless they just want us to replace it. They do want us to try to clean this mesh. It is, it feels like it might be on its last leg. Like if I try to scrub this in the sink, it might start to fall apart. But we'll try. We will try. Let's get it first fixed, and then we'll worry about how it looks later. Man, I swear these white models are more difficult to take apart than the black ones. I'm sweating. Ooh, that was weird. Being alive is weird. No, I'm not. I don't want to bleed today. I don't want to cut myself today. No sacrifices for Tim. Nope. Not today. See, y'all were drooling over the iPhone X and the Samsung S9 and their lack of bezels. I was already drooling over the Xiaomi Mix a year prior to those. The Xiaomi Mi Mix. That, I believe, is the first smartphone that hit the market with a bezel-less display. And to this day, I don't know if anything has beaten that screen to body ratio still. Absolutely mind-bogglingly thin bezels, and this was before the iPhone X, if I'm not mistaken. But because it's a Xiaomi phone, it's a Chinese phone, you know, it never came over here and no one ever heard about it or talked about it. I have no. I know the Sharp Aqua's crystal. I know the Sharp Aqua's crystal because I have 2 of them. And this is not the phone I'm talking about. This got close, but you still have this massive chin. Dude, the Xiaomi Mi Mix has no, it's like this, but on all 4 sides. There's no bezel, there's no chin, there's nothing. Look it up. Not the 2nd gen, the very 1st gen. It was they only made it for a few months, and then they discontinued it, and they released the 2nd gen Xiaomi Mix only a few months later with more bezel. They ruined it. It was short-lived, but superior. Now the Sharp Aqua's crystal. Oh, that is a good looking phone, don't get me wrong. I bought one while I was in Japan, and then one of my friends gave me one of theirs. But not nearly anywhere close to full bezel-less. With that kind of a chin, you're cheating. You're cheating. Yeah, the Mi Mix Alpha was cool, but just not as exciting to me. Also, if you want to get your hands on a cool old curved screen phone, there was Samsung that had they had the curved screen on one of the Notes, right? It was one side of the screen was like wrapped all the way around the side of it. I'm not talking about their flagship line where they trended towards both sides of the screen being curved for a while. Which, by the way, awful. Awful. Stupid. Dumb. Impossible to get screen protectors. Impossible to put the ones that you can get on. And then impossible to not break. It wasn't, I think it was like an alternate model of one of the original Note phones. I don't think it was the Note, but I'm pretty sure it was an alternate model. Like it wasn't one of their flagships. I think it was like the Note Edge. Is that right? Was it called the Samsung Note Edge? Well, anyways, real quick, we'll talk about what we're doing here to this board. We're just replacing these 4 filters before they go bad and cause death farts and all sorts of bass issues. And looks like I created a bit of a bridge there. Yeah, the Note Edge was the curve on that screen. It literally went around the side of the phone, and it was the only one that they did like that. All the subsequent curved screens that they did in their flagship phones, they were curved, but they didn't actually wrap around to the side of the phone. Alright, and now let's get that Schottky diode. It is of the 46K date code, of course. Well, can you blame phone companies for making more boring phones when that's what most people keep buying? Not to mention, like, China and Japan, they've got some pretty wacky, cool phones. So this is I feel like this is not so much... Wow, no, I can't say that. Definitely a problem with the manufacturers not being so creative these days. But also I think a lot of Americans maybe just simply don't care about most of these gimmicks, and they just want the biggest screen and the biggest battery. Not everyone. I know there's a lot of you out there that like your small phones and your small screens and being able to hold it and do everything in one hand like we used to. But there's a reason why the iPhone mini flopped, and there's a reason why every subsequent smallest iPhone has the lowest number of sales, if I'm not mistaken. I could be totally wrong. I'll have to actually fact check myself on that. Pop-up cameras were cool, man, and that made sense to me. Like, why degrade the image quality and try to hide the camera under the screen, or put a hole punch in the display when you could have the full front camera experience just having it pop out of the phone. I think that was really neat. Yeah, it adds more complication and things to break, but you could make the same argument about folding phones. And the infinitely less lifespan that a folding display is going to have than a motorized front-facing camera that from what I've seen in most of those phones with them, they were way over-engineered. Nivernal, thank you for the super. That is very neat. Thank you, thank you. I'll have to print that out and put it on my wall. Yeah, oh, and like you said, it's the beauty of the pop-out front camera too is it's a built-in privacy mode. Like it absolutely can't see you if it's physically inside of your phone, right? Heck, you know what? Take the motorized function out. Put a little slider back there that I have to slide it open and close myself. I don't care. At this point, just... give me a full screen. Oh, the Samsung Fold and their built-in screen protectors that people were taking off and subsequently immediately breaking the screens on. Oh, I loved the IR blaster built into my Samsung Galaxy S6. I would use that to change the TVs in the mess hall at on base. Make people real mad. I think the S6 was the last gen to come with the IR blaster. They got rid of it on the S7 or the S8. They've been taking our features away. They've been taking our hardware features away and replacing them with software gimmicks. Old man yells at the sky. It wasn't a retina scanner, it was an iris scanner. But yeah, it was like the S5 through the S10 series, I want to say. They had that for quite some time. They did it to compete with Apple's Touch ID. And then ironically, Apple eventually comes out with Face ID, killing Touch ID effectively on iPhones. Turns around and puts it in their iPads. Give me my Touch ID back. Well, they can't do Touch ID in the home button because they don't have home buttons on the iPhones anymore. Put it in the power button. Well, there we go. We've got it powering up. Ooh, let's grab Pat's first problematic pod here. Yep, it's booting up. As for Paul,
I'm having trouble.
Very good. We'll give them a cleaning as best as we can, and if we can't clean it, then we'll let them know and replace it. Ooh, all right. So we do have a fair bit of poppage from Pat's pod here. So here we go. Hopefully the subwoofer hasn't gone bad. And we just have a couple of filters that we need to replace. You can change how often your iPhone makes you ask for your PIN with Face ID already enabled. I believe the default's like after 5 or 15 minutes or something. I have mine set like yours where just don't ask me for my PIN unless the phone has restarted or it's been... they've got some sort of logic built in there that it'll eventually require your PIN again just for safety or just for security purposes, but oh, pro tip for you folks, if you didn't know. Let me clear all my notifications. If you didn't know, you can, when you swipe up and it asks for Face ID here, if you don't want to wait for this passcode page to pop up, you can swipe and then tap on the Face ID text, and it'll immediately bring up the PIN code page for you. So now you don't have to do this and wait for it to time out on your face. You can simply tap that Face ID text and it brings the PIN code page right up. When I learned how to do that, my life was changed. I'm a simple man. And I'm a bit of a muscle memory freak. And when it comes to my phone, I get so used to how long it takes for something to happen, or I've got a muscle memory of how to do a certain task. And it can get annoying when I'm waiting on my phone to fail to detect my face to ask my PIN code. I'd rather just put it in the first time straight away if I know I'm not going to have the right angle for it to see my face. Well, you guys do 6-digit? Oh, that's crazy. Crazy. I've been 4-digit forever. I'll eventually do 6 digits, but I'm just, like I said, I'm so baked into my 4-digit PIN code, it would suck to change that. But I'd get used to it. I have a 6-digit variant of my 4-digit PIN. Just in case anything requires that I use a 6-digit PIN and I forget that it's a 6-digit PIN, I don't have to remember. I can just try the 4-digit and then the 6-digit. Do not consult me for your security policies. I would make an awful security consultant. Bro just added 2 zeros to the end of his 4-digit PIN? No. No. You're close, though. But there is logic behind the extra 2 digits. Simple enough logic that me or my wife could figure out, but no one else without doing a full brain dump. My daughter's birth year. Oh no. I've been using the same PIN code since middle school. I set my PIN code. I picked a PIN code in middle school for, again, it was when I got my first phone. My phone for myself that my mom got me in middle school. I was setting up my voicemail. and it asked me to pick a voicemail PIN code. And that was the first time I had ever been asked to create a PIN code for anything. So I thought about it for a bit, and then I picked a PIN code for my voicemail, and I've used the same PIN code for literally everything ever since. With the exception of the 6-digit variation, which is, like I said, if I told you guys it would make sense and you'd be like, oh, that's neat. I'll put it in my will or something to reveal my PIN codes so the people that are that curious can at least have some closure. 046969. I think you guys got the wrong idea of who I am or who I was. I was a pretty straight arrow kid. Nah, I got in plenty of trouble, but the kind of trouble I got in was breaking cars and computers, not doing drugs and partying. A fun time for me was going to the e-waste center and thrift stores with my friends, and going home and doing a bunch of nerdy computer stuff, not drugs. All my other friends in school were doing something stupid. Now, I didn't get into the first drug that I ever touched. If you don't count alcohol, which I count alcohol as a drug. It's a drug and you can't convince me otherwise. But not counting alcohol, the first time I ever touched any drugs was, I was 23 or 25 years old at that point. And I smoked a joint with a couple of friends, and we watched Rick and Morty. No, it wasn't really special. Oh, and then there was the summer of shrooms. We've got a 52K dated Schottky diode on here, so those tend to not fail and cause any power issues. And our 10 ohm resistor's looking mighty fine. Is our subwoofer good? Yes, it is. Alright, well that looks all good and fine and dandy. Let's get this back together. Yeah, Rick and Morty was really weird to watch. Hi. Like, oh, and out of all of the episodes, the episode that we were watching was the one where they were like, it was the first episode where they started doing time traveling. So that was interesting. I'll never forget that night. taste, colors, and smell sound. That is called synesthesia, and I do have a mild. I do have mild synesthesia, but that has nothing to do with mushrooms or drugs or anything. That's just my messed up genetics, man. Speaking of genetics, did you all hear about 23andMe? Oh my gosh. I'm so glad I didn't get testing done with them. It's been tempting to do ever since it became a thing, but I always, in the back of my head, I always kind of had a bad feeling about letting another private company have a full copy of my DNA. But on the flip side, like, it's not that difficult to get your DNA either, and do whatever you would want to with it. But for it to all be in one place and up for the highest bidder, yikes. Wait, what happened? What do you mean what happened, Stefan? What happened? What happened to happen to what? What are you talking about? Delete my DNA? I feel like we've tried that already. When I went with my friends to a random e-waste center many years ago, we were digging around all of the broken electronics, and we came across this giant machine. This thing was massive. It was like 8 of us standing side by side, and it had all these buttons and switches on it. And so we start, we plug it in, of course, and we start flipping everything and pushing everything and mashing stuff, trying to get it to do something, trying to figure out what it is. And we one of the guys comes across the model number printed on the side, and they're like, "Oh, hey, I found the model number of what this is. We can look it up and see what it is." And they look it up, and they're like, "X-ray machine." We had been playing with an X-ray machine. And what's funny is before we figured it out, we figured out how to turn it on and how to make it make sounds. Like, we would do this thing and it would go ka-thunk, ka-thunk. Almost like you were turning an X-ray machine on and off. Good times. Mike, what is up? Welcome back, and goodness, thank you for that super chat. Wow, I'm gonna have to print that one out and put it on the wall too. Truly appreciate it. Even after, you bought a HomePod from us, and we're just doing what you paid us for. Really appreciate it. That's a nice super chat if you ask me, right there. Mm-hmm. More than your whole network. No. No, Stefan. I will be printing them all out. I have all of them saved as screenshots, and I'll print them out. If I don't print them out, I'll do something interesting with them one day. You know, you got people that, like, they have their patrons and they've got, like, the credits after their videos, or they've got, like, the plaques on the wall with everybody that's ever donated or whatever. We'll do something like that. Ooh, maybe what we could do is I could print out a little HomePod with everyone's names on it for if someone donates or whatever, we'll put their name and stick it somewhere in our desk. Have your own little HomePod on our desk here. Yeah, 2 in 1 day is pretty. It is pretty crazy. I'd have to look at my screenshots, but we had someone a few weeks ago give us $30, and then like a week or so before that, someone gave us like $50. I was like, whoa! I think I ran around the house and screamed for a little bit. I'm just doing my job. The Creo sand thing, when they made the X-ray thing, that might have been one of the first videos I saw from them that got me subscribed to their channel. It was that, or the microwave, like the death ray thing that they made, where they just like basically took a microwave apart and shot it at stuff. That's what got me sucked into them. Is this a new video that you're talking about? Did they do a new one? Sorry, wife was texting me. I'm trying to get dinner situated before it's too late. Before I have no say in the matter. They just repost old videos now? Aw, man. Alright, that sounds a lot better. We won't know for sure if it's still death farting or not, of course, without setting it up and testing it overnight. Let's move on to the next one from Pat here. My wife is on her way home, so we probably won't finish all of these today. But if I'm not mistaken, the rest of these 3 should just be a bit of maintenance. Oh yeah, we let Pat know. We let Pat know way back when we were working on Paul's, I believe. Alright, so obviously this one seems alright for now. So let's get that apart and let's keep it that way. We're talking some new filters, so it doesn't start having the same issues as the first one they sent into us. We're talking a new Schottky diode if it's got one that we know fails and causes no power. Anything else that stinks that we may find inside, but that's usually it. We'll get the subwoofer gasket replaced on the way back together, and then we just repeat that on the other two. Oh yeah, I remember that, Shuffle Hands. What? You want me to clear the queue, Stefan, so we've got no stream and we don't spend any time together this weekend? I see how it is. I have merch. It's just functional. And in the form of an adapter. I'm just kidding. I'll do merch one day when I feel like selling my soul to the devil. I'll do merch when we've got, you know, more interesting content on our channel worth, you know, merching for. I feel like it'd be a little, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I figure most people don't want to buy merch for a repair shop. They'd be more interested in buying merch for a YouTube channel. And right now, yeah, we're a YouTube channel, but we're pretty much just sitting here and fixing the same stuff every day. We're not doing anything terribly exciting. We're not doing fun video projects and making stuff here necessarily. But hey, wouldn't stop me from making some stuff someday and putting some funny slogans on some shirts to sell to you folks. I wouldn't sell anything I wouldn't wear myself. Pat, welcome, welcome. Not sure if you chatted in there earlier or if you're just now saying hi there, but welcome, welcome. Maybe I'm thinking too pessimistically about it. Maybe people want to rep whether we're doing the same thing here or not. I did sell, like, I would make custom HomePods and then throw them up on eBay for bidding, but they usually didn't go for any more than used working ones, so I stopped doing that. I mean, if anybody wants to buy a refurb and have it colored, then I still do that, but I don't bother with eBay and trying to sell them there anymore. Yeah, if you ever get any good ideas for anything, as silly as it may seem, man, write it down. Put it down somewhere so you don't forget it, because you will forget it, and then you'll bang your head on the wall. You'll regret it. Well, let's see, we got 2 more after this one. But if my wife's coming home with dinner, I'm not letting my food get cold for the sake of clearing the queue here. Especially when good Pat here is very patient with us. They said take your time, so I'm not gonna stress out about trying to cram them all into one stream, but if my wife doesn't come home with food, then we'll fix the other 2. If she shows up with food, though, that's it for today. I'm eating. Alright, do we need a Schottky diode? Yes, we do. We've got a 48K date code on that one. Those love to fail and cause power issues, so we'll get that replaced before it does. It's actually, you can kind of see the texture of it. Looks like it was getting pretty close there. Yeah, I would be upset because both of you are like 16 years old. That'd be weird. Unless she was getting paid to like babysit you guys, I couldn't think of another reason why you'd have her number, so got him. Alright. That's all that stinks in there. Let's get this back together. Yeah, I could be your dad if that was that dumb. But I'm not that dumb. Still dumb enough to have have a kid later. But I love him to death, and I have no regrets. Actually, I do kind of worry about their future, but that's a different topic for a different day. At a different place, on a different platform. I am legitimately old enough to be your dad. Just old enough for it to be, like, weird but legal in certain states, which is kind of concerning. Like, my mom had me when she was 20 or 21. I couldn't imagine having a kid when I was 21, let alone 16 years old. That's insane. Insane. I barely felt ready when we were like 30 years old. Shuffle hands, if I'm not mistaken, you might want to watch yourself in Idaho. I think Montana and Idaho are one of the few states that still allow for marriages of minors. There are only like 2 or 3 states in America. And like you guys recently voted to keep it that way. Why? Will we get this one back together at least before wifey shows up? We will see. Well, of course you didn't vote for it, Shuffle Hands, but you're old enough to get married away. You're just not old enough to vote for it. Hope you got a good relationship with your parents. Drake has a house in Idaho somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't even listen to Kendrick Lamar, but I know how dirty Drake is. Here it is normal to be married by 18. Man, that's just so sad. Even 18's kind of pushing it. Like, to each their own, but I certainly didn't feel ready to commit my life to with someone else at 18. yeah, like there's no rush having kids, because you can always wait to and or just never have kids, and you'll never regret it. As far as, man, I wish I didn't. Or you could rush. You could be like, I want kids now, and then you've spent no time to yourself. You've given, you haven't had any fun to yourself or with a spouse, and you've just now fully signed up for a very long commitment. When I was your guys' age, I didn't want kids either. Never, never, never. I swore I'd never have kids. When I got married to my wife, we both swore we would never, 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 ever have kids. And then, we spent a few years together. We went around, we did things, we had fun. And then we were kind of like, well, now what? Maybe not the best choice, but the next, we were like, we wanted something more. We wanted something to, I don't know, the kid, it's just, I don't know, you kind of just have to have a kid to understand. It's hard to put into words. You kind of just have to want a kid, I guess. You don't even have to have a kid. But, and not for everyone, but it's like a switch flipped, and it went from not wanting kids to wanting kids. I don't want more than one, though. I'm perfectly fine with putting all of our love and attention into the one kid instead of trying to split that up and delegate. As someone that had 2 little sisters, and my wife having been an only child, so we've got each perspective. Alright, that one's turning back on. Let's grab the next one and let's just dive right on into it here. We'll just keep plugging through this until my wife gets back home here. That's insane. I have never... See, like... I went to some pretty crappy schools. I lived in not the best part of town, not the worst part of town, but... Through all of the schools I went to growing up, I don't think anybody ever got pregnant, man. That's crazy. And I hear about it, but it never happened at any of the schools I went to. That might also be because we have sex education, but I don't know. And I don't mean like sex education as in this is a boy, this is a girl. Like how it actually all works. And the risks. And how to protect yourself, you know? I don't know about you guys, but my parents did an absolutely awful job educating us about that stuff. They didn't. Thankfully, our public education came through. And nobody not my or anybody I knew ever found themselves in a situation like that. We can get this one out of here. I mean, it's like we have public education for a reason, right? Most parents just simply can't educate their kids like as much as they really need it. So why would it be any different for that kind of stuff? What do I know? I fix HomePods. I make the speakers go beep boop. Alright. Another one. A 46K dated Schottky diode on that board, waiting to fail and cause power issues. So this, all these extra pods Pat sent in for maintenance, certainly not in vain here. If it wasn't these filters that would go bad and cause some issues, it would have been that diode that goes bad and causes more. Oh, jeez. Kids are wild. You think public schools are wild, though? Private schools are like prisons, man. All right. Let's get that diode out of here. Marvin, welcome back. Ah! Ouch. Is the board okay? Yeah, I mean the board's fine. I hit my hand. Yeah, the board's fine. My hand, not so much. Yeah, that's a knuckle duster. I'm fine. It's not the first, second, or third time I've done that. Didn't break anything, so I'm okay. Tim got the sacrifice he needed. Do you get out of here? Every time you bring that up, it happens. He didn't get a blood sacrifice, though. I'm not bleeding, so... Take that, Tim. Words of wisdom? Always maintain a healthy amount of skepticism. You don't have to be skeptical about everything all the time, but you should have a healthy amount of skepticism for things. And don't hesitate to do your own research. And think before you say something. Think before you talk. If it wasn't for my skepticism about death farts for the first-gen HomePods, we wouldn't be here today. Because long ago, before I ever thought of even offering a repair service, before I even had more than one HomePod for myself, everybody was talking about these death farts and how you couldn't fix it because it was caused by something that you couldn't replace. And I was skeptical. You know, it made sense. I kind of believed it, but I was also kind of skeptical. So that's what prompted me to dig into it and try to figure it out myself, and eventually led to discovering all of these repairs and fixing all these HomePods all these years later. You don't gotta be woke, but you shouldn't be asleep either. Who? I don't know who that is. I'll have to look him up. What is woke? Yeah, woke is usually a term used when someone wants to illegitimately dismiss an argument with someone else or a point made by someone else. You hear people talk about like woke mind virus or whatever. And it's funny because then the same people turn around and tell you to wake up. It's like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to wake up or go to sleep? Yeah, the Karens kinda took it too far. Marvin's right. I mean, but that's the case with anything. That's why we can't have nice things, right? Like, most people don't have problems, but it's a small, outspoken majority that tends to ruin it for the larger crowd. Oh, no, please, I hope she's bringing food home. I am so hungry. Excuse me. Well, I don't want to sound rude, but when you're only 16 years old, you really haven't had a whole lot of life to experience yet. So you've got you still have a very narrow worldview. And what you need to do is you need to expand that. You need to expose yourself to different cultures, different people. You need to challenge your own beliefs too. You need to find people that challenge what you believe and what you think. Make you question it a little bit here and there. See if what you believe in is really right or not. Don't just live in a bubble with everyone else that always agrees with you all the time. Challenge yourself sometimes. Get a little uncomfortable. You're not going to grow and improve if you don't. You're going to get stale and senile and bitter and stuck in your ways before you know it. Alright, so the last one here, the last melon. Let's try to pop through this one. You like the sticky notes, Stefan? Those came from Pat. Yeah. They're fun, but they kind of do get in the way. I like my tape more. Alright, this is the last piece of I guess you could call it wisdom or advice, or just Nick's thoughts. How about that? Oh, I'm gonna leave you hanging for a sec. Let me think about how I'm gonna say it. Put that. Darn. I'll come back to it if I can think of it. Oh, okay. I think I know what to say. It's pretty simple. You think you know everything. You think you got it figured out. And you couldn't be any more wrong. My mama told me when I was like 17 or 18, she was like, you're gonna feel like you got it figured out and you know what's going on. You may or may not feel like you know everything, but you may feel like you know something, and you're gonna be wrong about it. And the older I get, like, the less I feel like I really do know about how anything works. It's like for every truth that you thought you knew, once you learn at a deeper level about that thing, then it's like, oh, actually, that's just a simplified way of putting it. It's totally different. But we have to simplify it so that, you know, unless you want to spend weeks, days, weeks, years mastering it and learning it, that's the simple explanation you're going to get, and that'll help you get along by good enough. But it's like gravity is a good example. And like at the end of the day, I guess what matters is if the explanation it gives you a good enough intuitive understanding of it, right? But gravity, one of the things that blew my mind was like how gravity isn't a force. It's not an effect, or gravity isn't the cause, it's an effect. And if you don't know what I mean, there's hours of videos, and you can look it up and look into it and lose yourself to that this weekend. Give you a new topic. But yeah. You ever wonder why we're here? Okay, that's really cool. 3 out of the 4 power supply screws stripping themselves. No big deal. No big deal. That's what I get for using the electric driver, though. That's why you don't want to use the electric driver on too many screws inside of these. Outside, you'll be okay. Inside, especially the amp screws, you really don't want to strip those. You'll break something trying to get it out. If you want to actually hurt your brain this weekend, look up on YouTube. It's from PBS. It's from PBS, and it's called "Why Don't We Remember the Future?" Whoa. They go off on explaining how a meteor understands the future. A freaking rock. Alright, and this one does not need a new Schottky diode. It's got a date code of 42K on there. So this one with a new subwoofer gasket should be all good. And goodness, are we gonna... Oh, wow. I apologize for that. I am so sorry. I try to mute myself so you guys don't hear that, but that just came out of nowhere. Are we gonna get this back together before my wife gets home? Are we gonna clear this queue? No, we're not gonna clear this queue because you forgot about Chris's 2 HomePods. You all forgot. Chris has 2 HomePods that we looked at the beginning of the stream that we said we would take care of today instead of tomorrow if we got through everything else. And you all forgot. I mean, without a doubt, like, with how big the universe is, I mean, everybody says it, right? With how big it is, there's gotta be something out there. I align more with the thinking with others of, the advanced civilizations have already been here. They already mess with us. Look, you guys have been looking for my crazy, and there it is. I believe in a couple of crazy conspiracy theories, like aliens were already here and the pyramids are giant power towers. But that's about as crazy as I get. The Earth is definitely round. As long as they're not on the screen, they're not in the queue. Stefan, how dare you? I thought you were an advocate. Just look at what they discovered about the main pyramid. Are you talking about the suspected electrodes in like the basically the giant battery terminals that they had found inside of the pyramids? And like how the materials used to put the pyramids together were oddly they made a lot of sense for converting what thermal heat into energy. Was that right? Or is this old news? Because I haven't looked into pyramids conspiracies in like 2 or 3 years by now. So anything that's come out since then is news to me. Oh no, I did watch a video of a bunch of researchers that were poking a borescope camera through a hole into a newly unseen chamber of the pyramids, but did they ever actually get in there, or did they kind of tease us and never really show us anything? The giant cylinders underneath the pyramid. So I was right. They are batteries. Am I right? They were giant batteries. But okay, what did they use them for? Okay, so like, yeah, even if they were giant power sources, what did they use it for? I think they used it for welding. Because they definitely had some form of welding back then. And what easier way to do it than with a giant battery bank? Man, technology lost to time is so sad to think about. Like, all of the tools that the ancient civilizations made with no machinery, no... Like, it was all done by hand. Blows my mind. And here we are scratching our heads over stuff like this. Ah, you think the pyramids were put there? Yeah. I don't strongly discount that theory either. I think they used AI for it. I'm just kidding. But it is one of life's biggest mysteries, huh? How'd they do it? Did they do it? I mean, history says pretty plainly, clearly that they used a lot of manual labor. But with the way that our history is being rewritten before our very eyes today, I wouldn't be surprised if that history was rewritten from the original truth too. But again, totally crazy conspiracies, you know. Back to reality here. Believe it or not, it looks like we've almost got this put back together and the queue cleared out, oh my goodness. Let me put this together, and I'll see how far out my wife is, because I don't want to start another one if she's only a few minutes out. But if she's stuck in traffic still in Tacoma, then yeah, we'll work on some other stuff here. I've got some logic boards we need to reball, so that we can use one for Chris. No, we're not doing the cancer cube. Gosh, you guys want me to die a slow and painful death. We have work to do. If we don't have work to do, then we can do the cancer cube. I swear, we're gonna be like on and off working on this thing for the rest of our YouTube channel's existence. Like 5 years from now, we're gonna be like still adding to this. And you guys are gonna be like, pull out the cancer cube, add another cat, bro. Come on, just one more. And it's gonna be like the size of my desk. Like, I'm gonna have to have a room just for the cancer cube. Because it'll stink so bad. Anytime we go to work on it, it'll release thousands of years of... thousands of tons of, carcinogenic fumes and lead for your entertainment. Now I think I'm just gonna sit here and keep heating up this adhesive until my wife shows up. Alright. Very good, very nice. Where is she? How far away is that? You know, I think... Oh, she's hauling. She is hauling. Oh. Where is that? Where is this? The landing? Oh, no, she's like 5 minutes out. Well, I guess we don't really have time to do anything significant here, except the cancer cube. Fine. Oh. You know, actually, a pyramid might be easier than a cube for this thing. Look at all this flux. What is going on here? Okay, let's get this thing heated up. It takes like 5 minutes just to get this thing warm enough again. Gosh. No, we don't have time for share playing with music, unfortunately. It'll by the time I get that to you guys and you guys join and play music, my wife will be here. Alright. Gosh, I hope my wife shows up soon. Save me. It's not melting. Yeah, it's a solid unit. It's literally I can't breathe. I have to cover my face. It's falling apart under its own weight. Ah, shit. That's it. That's all we got the time for. I have to put one more on there just for fun. My wife is pulling in now. So, I told you it was going to take like 5 minutes just to get the heat into this thing. Crazy. Alright, folks, I hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair and the extra minute or so on our cancer cube here. That is a unit. Hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to catch you in the next one.